Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone. Good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome back. I hope everybody is healthy and doing okay. I'm happy to be with you all. This is our town hall specifically to talk about the beginning of the academic year, but also to be here to support each other in questions as we prepare ourselves for reopening. Just a couple of things. I want to say thank you to the student development team for all their work for orientation. It's quite lively here today. We have students here on campus. In total, there have been 5 sessions of in-person orientation with about 260 students. Our Academic Advisement Center is working hard, and other people are working hard to make sure that everybody is moving along for the beginning of the fall term. So let me say that first. Thank you, thank you, thank you. High energy, and thank you for orientation. Next, I wanted to share that you should be able to see our updated reopening plan on the website. If it's not there currently, it will be by the end of this conversation. The reopening plan is a fluid document, and it has to stay that way because we, as you will hear from Russell later, we have to stay in constant contact with CUNY Central around updating the official reopening plan and having it posted. So thank you for sharing that in the chat. So we do have an updated reopening plan, and please, if you need to visit, please do that. Thank you all, each of you, for your patience and your diligence with the entry to campus process. I'm so happy to see so many people coming on campus and successfully entering the campus using their vaccine update, uploaded using the app. I know that others in the group will talk a little bit more about the nuances of the things that we have to work out. I'm really grateful for the time between now and the first day of classes, which is August 25th, for us to continue to come on campus, refresh our spaces, and be ready to be together, those of us that are going to be in person. And I know later on there are many people will talk about modalities of instruction and things, so people will get updates on that. But thank you for your patience, and thank you for our public safety department in particular for their patience with everyone as they learn how to follow the process and enter campus. I want to also thank our essential staff who have been here all along. I've been on campus coming all along. So I want to thank everyone who's getting the campus ready to be clean. It is clean, very clean. There's a lot of painting being done. Our escalator is moving. It's so exciting, our brand new escalator. It's it's looking good around here. So thank you for that. A side note, I wanted you all to know, if you weren't aware, we do have representatives from the FEMA funeral services here. They are here to help families and community members who need and or are eligible for reimbursement for COVID-related funeral expenses. So there is a information desk here, and I will ask later in the meeting for somebody to list in the chat where they're located when they're not out front, but they're out front today because of orientation. But it's a very good program, so I want people to know about that. And then next, let's please be mindful that email is not sent for people to ignore. The chancellor has sent some official correspondence around the mask mandate. He will be sending the CUNY Central will be sending official correspondence directly to the students. So as a faculty, a community member, I have to ask you, please, please, please read your email and encourage other people to read their email so they are aware of what is going on. I know that you all received the information about the mask mandate. There will be student messages, and the websites will be constantly updated. So if you should need to get information, please be diligent about checking the websites. A couple of things that have been front of mind. We are aware that there are, obviously in the news, there's conversation about the Delta variant. And we do not currently have any guidance around responding to any new triggers or new signals or what's going to happen next. So I can tell you now that we don't have those answers here. That's not part of what we're preparing for right now, but I know that CUNY Central and we are keeping our eye on it. We continue to be hopeful that we will have data around how many students are vaccinated, and we will continue to encourage our students to become vaccinated. So thank you for your help. Those of you all have been working on that. Let's see, what else do I have here? We also are positioning ourselves to have specific details around the beginning of the semester and what happens around testing. You'll hear those updates today. You'll hear updates about testing. You'll hear updates about entry to campus. You will probably hear updates around hybrid or high flex. Thank you to my team that's keeping an eye on the chat and helping to answer the questions. And thank you all for being here. So I'm going to go down the line, asking some of my senior leadership team to give you updates, and then we will, of course, make sure that we follow up to your questions. So Charles, I'm gonna start with you, okay? VP Charles.
Good afternoon. Welcome to those that have come back to campus, and look forward to seeing you all here in the next week. When you come back, you all will see, as the president has mentioned, the capital projects, those being the elevators and escalators that have all been replaced, two new lecture halls, 2 new labs, the faculty dining room, are all projects that are very close to completion. We expect them to all be online by early to mid-September, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised when you see those. We're very excited that those projects were completed over this last year and a half, and I think you'll all be excited when you see it. So we've clearly been very busy cleaning and preparing campus for everyone's return. We can continue to do so. We have brought in supplemental help. Everyone from carpenters and painters and electricians. We're actively working on many things. And as those things are completed and we come online, we look forward to, again, seeing a really clean campus that has been restored and refreshed in a lot of ways. So there's still a lot of work to do, and we will get there. But again, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at what you see compared to where we were when we left basically a year and a half ago. Hard to believe it's been a year and a half. So I know, as the president mentioned, certainly testing. So if you're vaccinated, hopefully, as the president mentioned, you need to open your emails from CUNY Central. There are emails about vaccinations and how to download the various apps and get registered and upload your documents and all that and get approved. Same goes for testing. I am the liaison for the testing center, and I can tell you that I have easily fielded nearly 100 emails over the last week or so, not only from folks on campus, but other campuses, because you can be tested at any CUNY campus. It's a centralized system where the test results are consolidated. So you should have received an email. If you have not uploaded your vaccination documentation and been approved, you should have gotten an email saying that you must be tested. That email would have come out last Monday. So please go back to your email and look at last Monday, and you'll see, because there will be a personalized link for you to go and make an appointment. You must be tested within once every 7 days, and that test must be conducted at a CUNY facility, one of 20 that are open across the 5 boroughs. We cannot accept, for any CUNY employee, we cannot accept an outside test. It must be done in a CUNY facility. When a test is done, results will be available within 24 hours. That means that if you plan on being here next Wednesday, you have to be tested by, let's say, Monday to get the result in time to come on campus on Wednesday. If you try to come on campus and do not have a negative test result, you will be turned away. That is CUNY policy. The folks that tried to come on campus yesterday and did not have a negative test, that testing center opened last Thursday. If you do not have a negative test from the CUNY testing center, you will be turned away. And so it's really imperative that you go back and look for that email, follow the link, schedule an appointment. They do accept walk-ins, but again, you can't expect to, if you have a class on Thursday, you can't expect to come Thursday and get tested and then go to class. You have to come the day before. It's going to take 24 hours. And if the testing is over the weekend, like done on a Friday, you probably won't get the result until Sunday. So again, you need to plan to be tested and make appointments. They do accept walk-ins, but that's on a as available basis. If there's a lot of folks they're coming in, they're going to take the folks with appointments first. So you would have to wait to be tested. So again, you know, know your own situation. Please take the time to open those emails from CUNY Central, from the chancellor, and et cetera, and follow the instructions and be prepared when you come to campus to either show your vaccination status or your negative test result before you enter campus. That's all I have at the moment. Happy to answer any questions.
Are there questions for Charles? The people want to speak up and unmute themselves. You can just unmute yourself and go for it. Because I see people keeping track of the chat. Questions for Charles? Okay, so the high level points, I will read them all off before we're done. Charles gave you some updates on facilities and on testing. All right, we're going to move on.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand. Go ahead for it. Go for it.
For the York College Vox Hub in the York College app, I don't know how to sign in.
For the Vax Up?
The Vox Hub in the York College app.
I'll have them put it in the chat, okay? I'll be sure somebody puts it in the chat.
Because I don't have an account for the campus resources thing.
Okay. All right, so could you put your note in the chat, but we will put the information in the chat and we'll make sure somebody helps you. Roberto, is that your hand?
Yeah. I just want to ask about literacy students at the Learning Center. Like they don't have access to a CUNY First ID. So I was wondering, what's the procedure for them to show proof of vaccination?
Okay,
literacy students will be treated according to the guest policy. And I believe that there was a meeting yesterday afternoon, which our CIO, Claudia Lindau, attended, and that policy is actually being worked out today, the campus guest policy, which will be relevant to folks who are not CUNY employees or students, but who are visiting campus. And that will include folks like contractors and other regular guests to the campus that are here fairly consistently, excuse me.
Okay, we're gonna move on to Russell. Charles, unless you think that Sabrina needs to do HR.
I leave that up to Sabrina. I don't know if there's anything more that she wants to add.
Okay, Sabrina, do you have anything?
No, I think Charles just about covered it. The testing, the vaccination, the information is out there about how to upload your documentation. For employees, we are actually going the extra step and sending you a notification of your status once we've reviewed your document. So folks should monitor their email for that, because if it doesn't say approved, then there's some other action that you need to take. We'll need you to contact us or go ahead and go back into the portal, and there'll be a comment there to tell you what the issue is. So that's the only thing I would add.
All right, thank you for that. All right, Russell, we're coming your way. And because we've been apart for a little while, always just say your name and your title and then go from there. Thank you so much.
All right, well, this is Russell Plotzek. I'm counsel for the college. And if I have any difficulties with connection, somebody just.
You were good until just that moment when you said connection. Now you're frozen. Oh no. Uh-oh.
Okay.
Russell, you know what?
Am I on?
Why don't you log off and come back on? Derek, are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay, you log off and come back on. We'll do Derek. Go for it.
Not all that many new announcements. Hi, I'm Derek Brazil. I'm the interim provost here at York. I guess in terms of updates, registration is of course still open. Students are still registering. The process whereby the classrooms are being technologically outfitted to allow hybrid technology to be used is going along very, very well, with the idea of having at least over 100 classrooms outfitted for hybrid technology. And again, that simply will allow, in essence, simulcasting, so that students in the class can hear and be present in the class with the instructor, as well as students who are synchronously online can also participate in the class. It's a two-way system where the students in the classroom can see the students who are remote and interact with them. The students who are remote can see the students that are in the class and interact with them also. But I think that's really about it. If there are any questions about any of the different modalities that the courses are going to be taught in, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
All right.
I have a question.
Thank you. Who's there? I'm going to come back to you, Leslie, if you want to, but I see you put your question in the chat. Go ahead.
Hi.
Sophia?
Hi. Yeah, sorry. How do I know if my program, what courses are hybrid or which one are in person or asynchronous?
That's a good question. So when you register for the course, when you go on to CUNY first, when you click on the course, there is a descriptor at the very end of the column, that the row that lists the course, that says modality. And the modality will either be in person, online, or hybrid. And that'll tell you what the modality is. Of course, if you have specific questions about the course that you've registered for, I recommend contacting the department.
Is that on CUNY first? Sorry.
That is on CUNY first, exactly.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right, Leslie, do you want me to come back to you or are you good in the chat? Just speak up.
Leslie has a question for, I believe it should be Sabrina.
Okay.
Adjuncts who don't have email addresses yet, how are they getting information about testing and the requirements? That may be a question that has to be addressed offline around specific folks, but that's the question.
Okay, thank you. I can say in general, in routine practice, when a department chair hires an adjunct, there's a PAF, an electronic PAF that gets created that requires an email address in it. So we can use that information to communicate this, but also as part of onboarding now, this would be an extra step that we would tell the adjunct they need to take as part of their onboarding. But it's always helpful, since department chairs are the first contact and the point person, to please make your newly hired adjuncts aware that this is going to be a part of the hire process, that they need to either upload their vaccine documentation or they will be subject to testing. And as President Eanes often says, over communicating is a good deal. So that's what I would say.
Great, thanks. And this is Leslie Tyler, Chair of the Department of Teacher Education. One of my staff members was very diligent and uploaded her information about her vaccine status the first day. It has said in process ever since then. And I know that I and other people have been processed sooner than that. If someone is stuck in that in process phase, what can they do to get out of it?
So I don't want to speak for Claudio Lindo, or IT department. Charles, what's your preference? Maybe we need to set up a help.
But if that's a Sabrina question, isn't it? Is Sabrina handles the clearance at vaccination?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can speak to that a little bit. Number one, they can contact us to see if, as I said earlier, if we reviewed some and there's some mishap or there's something that needs to be corrected, we can tell the individual what that is. But there's another little glitch that's happening with the system, and that is employees who are also students. And so and the university is still working through that issue, and maybe Claudio can speak to that. But what's been happening is, if the person has been a student, and it doesn't even need to be a current student, could be a past student from years ago, and they upload their documents, it might get attached to their role as a student. And we can't see it here at York, but the school where they were a student has to act on the record. And then it becomes a dance to figure out whether they know that, whether we can communicate it, meaning my office, to the student liaison so that we can get it cleared. I just literally a second ago found out we got a faculty member that we were actually able to resolve that issue, and that was the problem. So it depends on who the person is, might be one of those two situations, but a first step could be to have that employee contact us so that we can figure out whether the issue lies locally.
President, if I may, we have been seeing this situation is not only at this campus, and central office is looking for a way for if the person is an employee, he should override the requirements for verification at the student level. I actually have two of my staff members on that situation, and the verification have to be done twice separately. But apparently the solution should be implemented before the end of the day, Thursday, I'm being told, by central office.
All right, we're good. Okay, I have a couple of people asking about orientation chat. I'll let you all manage the chat a little bit, and then we are going to move on. Kachi, do you have specific facilities updates for us, for everybody? Anything?
Beyond what Charles said.
No, you don't need to. I just wanted to check in. It's okay.
Oh, okay. It's pretty much what Charles has shared with the group so far.
Okay, very good. Thank you. All right, so a couple of things. So to summarize the notes I have, and you all keep an eye on the chat, we have some facilities updates. There's a lot of projects going on. All of the department chairs have toured their departments, and there are punch lists for every academic department around work that will be ongoing. We have updates regarding testing, and I emphasize the fact that people should be reading their CUNY email and all their emails at this point so that you are updated. If you have not come to campus or don't feel safe coming to campus, you should be letting those who you need to talk to know about that. We are encouraging people to be vaccinated. We do have some special populations. Thank you, Roberto, for pointing out the guest policy will be in place, and the Learning Center students and a few other groups will follow that. The information about accommodation has been posted about 6 or 7 times in the chat, so we will keep on posting that if people need it. Classroom technology is being updated as appropriate. So every faculty member, adjunct and or full-time faculty member should be aware of what technology is available for them. The provost and the deans have been working with the academic chairs diligently. I hope that the academic chairs feel as if they are getting the appropriate support so that they can then reach out to all the faculty in their department so that they also get the appropriate support to be ready. We talked a little bit about dual affiliation. That's what we're calling it. So when you're a student and you're a staff member, or you're a student and you're, so that CUNY first thing that we're trying to resolve. And I think Sabrina and her team will be working on that dual affiliation work a little bit, because it's going to take some attention. And then not outside the context of this, some of the notes we've had, we will be having very active weeks of welcome. Thank you to student development for planning some very active and I hope very festive activities for our weeks of welcome. And that information will be shared momentarily. VP Karen, are you there? I saw your face. You have anything for the group?
Good afternoon, everyone. VP Karen Williams, Student Development. I don't have anything additional, but I will say that you will, the schedule of weeks of welcome is being released. And thank you to everyone on my team who has worked so diligently to make the students feel welcome this fall.
Thank you. And thank you for that work on that. I told them I wanted to be very, very, very festive around here. So we got to get ready to welcome everybody back. Thank you for that. So I'm going to open it up for anybody else who has an additional updates. Thank you for keeping track of the chat. I hope that people feel like their questions are being answered.
Claudia, I apologize. There's a question, I believe it should be answered by Claudia Lindau, about whether HiFlex technology can be turned off in the classrooms. I'm not sure if that's in the Q&A that was posted in the chat, or if that's a question that can be answered here.
Sure. In terms of HiFlex, just to clarify, again, HiFlex is a modality, and the technology that is in each smart classroom is in full control of the faculty that is in the room. Cameras, as see happens with this meeting, can be turned off, can be disabled, and it is just on a click, just like I'm turning off my camera right now. It's full control by the faculty as well as the microphone. The professor has full control of whatever happens inside of the room.
All right, I hope that's helpful. So I'm gonna scan the screens. Let's see how we're doing. A couple of things that keep me awake at night. Are we communicating enough to the students and the staff and the faculty around how we can support each other? Is the information easily accessible? Are people understanding the fact that we have an academic year starting no matter what? No matter what space you're gonna be in, we want everybody to be in school, moving along, doing what we gotta do, right? I don't know what keeps everybody else up at night. Those are things that concern me. Are we communicating well? Are we working as a team? Are we collaborating, right? Are we making sure that all the information that we need is on the website and that we repeat? And we also give each other a little grace, right? Grace is what you give each other when you know you've been through a hard time. So I would say that a pandemic is a hard time. It's official. We've been through a hard time. We're in a hard time, and we may go through more hard times. Grace, patience, right, is what I'm asking, and I'm trying to exercise, right? I'm asking that everybody try to do that. It's not easy. It's not easy. So I put that out there. I want to be sure that people understand that we are trying our best, the best that we can, and that we have all positive intent with this. We're trying our best. So anybody else? Okay, I see a few things. Registrar's office. Okay. We're doing good. Food. We will have food on campus, I think. Yes, Charles, are we still working? Okay.
Yes, yeah. We're just they were in last week to assess. The machinery hasn't been turned on in a year and a half, so they were in last week to sort of assess and take inventory to see where we are. But I do expect that hopefully by the end of next week we will have food at the Cardinal Cafe available.
Fantastic. And if we do not have food at the Cardinal Cafe, we will make arrangements for a food truck because we know how to do that. So we will have, everybody will be able to get a cup of coffee somehow. All right, another question. What will happen if someone in a class tests positive? So this will be, I don't know that this will be different than what we went through before, but Dana, do you want to speak to that? I don't know that we have all that guidance yet.
We are having a meeting on Thursday to talk about what quarantine policies will be and what infection policies will be. There is still some questions about whether given what the CDC and the State Department of Health knows about Delta and vaccinated folks and non-vaccinated folks, there's discussions going on about what policies will be.
So currently I'm responding to this question. You all help me if I'm on track. Currently, we received a mandate around masks from the chancellor. It is clear and concise. So your question about if a student is unmasked, can I ask them to leave the class? It's going to be difficult, but people will not be able to come in the building without a mask at this point, based on the guidance. Am I correct, team? Am I correct? All right, so that's clear. Can I ask a student if they've been vaccinated? You will not need to do that because we have entry processes. You are either vaccinated or you're tested, one or the other, or you are not inside the building. That is it. There is no black or white. That's it. Am I clear, team? Are we on the same page? You are vaccinated or you are tested. There is nothing else.
There is, and the reason that everyone is vaccinated or tested because no one on the campus should be in a position to be asking a student, a staff member, any member of the community as to whether or not they are vaccinated. That's information that the individual has shared with HR through the appropriate apps and processes, or the students through the vaccine portal.
That takes the faculty, staff, and students in the community out of that position. So that's why the entry process is so important. Go ahead, Sabrina.
I was just going to say the only other category are those individuals who have an approved reasonable accommodation that authorizes them to be fully remote, and those folk would be exempt from those two categories. That's the only other.
But they would not be on campus.
Correct.
Very good. All right, thank you. All right, thank you for all that information. There's a lot of stuff in the chat. The town hall is recorded. Am I right, Claudio? And it is posted afterwards. Every town hall that we've had is posted and recorded. So please, if you have other colleagues that you can share the information with or direct them to listening, that would be very helpful. We can take all that. All right, so our question from Ms. Morgan around the first day is a good question. Do you see it, Dana?
I do. So students who are still in the process of being vaccinated and are not 2 weeks post-vaccination by the first day of classes will need to be tested and provide a negative test result from a CUNY site in order to enter the campus until you can upload your proof of vaccination.
All right, other questions? Couple of other things. The reason I wanted to share with you all what keeps me up at night, because I think it's important to just share. It's important. We have come a long way and we have a long way to go.
There's a question about whether or not public safety should be called around masks. We are not encouraging folks to call public safety to be enforcers of mask policy. That is not, VP Bozian, if you have something you want to add to that, but we are not in a position where we are doing that. We are asking folks to be good citizens and good community members and follow the mask mandate.
That's right. I mean, the public safety is not the mask police. They will enforce at the door, and it is incumbent on folks to continue wearing masks. And it's incumbent on folks walking around. If you see someone walking around without a mask, see something, say something. I mean, that's not, don't be confrontational, but we're all in the same boat. No one wants to wear a mask, but everyone has to wear a mask, period. And that's the rule, and that's what we're doing. And I'm not wearing a mask sitting here in my office, but when I stand up, I have 2 masks sitting right here, and I walk out and I got a mask on, and that's period. And so that goes for every student, it goes for every faculty member, it goes for every employee, period.
All right. We have some questions about the library. Provost, where are we? Are we still trying to figure that out as it relates to the other? I actually have to ask, I may have to ask 3 people about this question because the library has been an ongoing sort of area also with the guest and the entry that we were trying to get clear.
The library is only open for picking up and dropping off of materials. It's not going to be open for any other purposes.
Okay. So Elizabeth, thank you for your question. Actually, it was a CUNY Central decision and we did not change the policy regarding testing. The testing decision was a CUNY Central decision and we got it out to everybody as soon as we could, which was last week. Am I correct, Charles?
That's correct. We have they're setting the policy, they're setting the guidelines.
That was not,
the hours. I mean, they controlled everything about this process. We're only here to administer it, unfortunately.
Yep. And all of the information about where you can get tested and how you coordinate the timing was in the initial message and has been sent over and over again. Is the sports complex opening? I'm not sure what you mean when you mean the sports complex. The gym and the other facilities, I will ask, is Carl here? Because we're figuring that out. Karen, I think I saw him, I'm not sure. Okay, we'll come back if we need to.
Yes,
so
also circulating.
Yeah, I saw a few messages about the gym and that kind of thing.
There is a, can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. There is a separate athletics reopening plan that's posted to the website that gives details about what terms that we're going to be using those facilities. Carl's will be able to quote chapter and verse better than I, but it is available and posted.
Okay, very good. The library is closed to studying, say, where can students go to work quietly? So we won't have the same amount of gathering in public spaces as we've had, I don't believe, but I think we have to clarify that. So I will say to VP Karen and VP Charles, that has to be worked out with you all specifically, because people will want to know if they can gather, right? And just sit in between class and how that's going to happen. And I think every campus is doing that differently. We need to be able to answer that question if we're not there today. Okay, so quiet studying places, places to eat lunch, that kind of thing. If we're following the entry process, those kind of things, we have to figure that out. All right, I think there's a couple of questions about if hybrid class that we've already answered. All right. Okay, good. So what I will say is that most of the information about where we are is publicly posted and or has been communicated via one email or another. The students will be getting their own correspondence from CUNY Central, and there will be quite a bit of it. The entrance process right now, we've had some glitches, but it seems to be working. There are people on campus. There are people who've come back, their office is open. There are, obviously we're having orientation. It's quite lively out here in the outer area. So it seems like we're moving ahead. But again, there will be bumps and humps and things to deal with. And so the key is for you to communicate when you see something that we need to address.
President, may I jump in?
Yep, go for it.
Sure. There was a question, there's a couple questions that are popping up right now regarding transmission rates in the community. And what I had started to say earlier when I got knocked off online is, as you mentioned at the outset, the reopening plan is a sort of a living document. We know that this is a dynamic environment. Most recently, there was the change regarding masks, which I did want to make sure was noted to everybody, was updated to our plan and posted in the most recent version that's going up today. And I'm happy to talk about that separately if we want to do that. Regarding transmission rates, we are monitoring the transmission rates. We are consulting with CUNY on it right now. There is no plan at this point to change the current trajectory of reopening. Obviously, that is always an ongoing discussion, and we will continue to monitor it. And if there is any change, of course, we will be letting the community know right away.
Thank you, Russ, for that. We will all be monitoring that. It's an ongoing conversation.
Very
similar to how it was before we went into the shutdown earlier. Somebody was speaking, I'm sorry.
This is Jacob Abkarian, assistant professor. I just had a question for Russell regarding the transmission rates. So would the plan be then to change potentially the reopening plan? Is that what you're saying? Because it's a living document?
It is always subject to change. Most recently with the different provisions regarding masking, we believe that currently we are able to continue to operate safely, and should that change, obviously, it will be the product of a conversation between the college and the university, and we will be letting the community know. But at this time, we believe we are continuing to operate in a safe manner, and will continue to do so.
Can I jump in? Can you hear me?
Yep, go ahead, Deborah.
This is Deborah Meyerowitz. I'm professor of behavioral science and also PSC grievance officer. The reason that you're getting so many questions from faculty about, can I ask about vaccination, and can we enforce the mask mandate, et cetera, is because given that we don't know who is and is not vaccinated versus tested, and the chancellor's plan, which he sent out over the weekend, specifically says that there is no social distancing for vaccinated people, but unvaccinated people should socially distance themselves. And we all know that A, our classrooms are too crowded for that, and B, nobody is going to announce, hey, I've got no vaccine, I'm going to sit over here in the corner. So therefore, that's making folks concerned about how to manage all that in their classroom. Mm-hmm. The CDC is clear that unvaccinated people need to be 6 feet away from other people. 6 feet of distance is the safe distance, and we're not doing it. So that is why you're getting this concern.
Thank you, Deb. We understand. Thank you.
It would be nice to get an answer then of what we can actually do to
I think what we have right now is what we can do. I mean, I don't know that I have another answer. Where we are is where we are. I don't know that we have another answer. I think that we have a mask mandate. We have an entry process for vaccinated and unvaccinated. We have an accommodation process. We have the deference of the faculty member. We have the deference of the students, and we have the best intent we can. We don't have anything else, unless my team wants to inform me of something I'm missing. And there's not necessarily, I mean, and we also have a lot of other variables that are percolating. We give you everything we have. Everything I have, everything we have, we give it to you.
Let me just jump in maybe and say this as well. Our student density right now is aimed at, I forget the exact number, 60-some%. So we will be operating at 2/3 capacity on site to begin with. Obviously, as I said before, the same principle applies here. This is an ongoing sort of a dynamic environment. Classes on a case-by-case basis are going to be looking at how many students are actually going to be taking the classes in person versus remotely, and the physical plants that they're going to be working with. And we encourage every professor to take a look at their classrooms and think about what they can do. There should be dialogue between the professors and their chairs, the deans, the provost, and to the extent possible, we are going to do what we can do to make these environments safe. And when there's problems, they'll be raised, and we're going to try to address them on a case-by-case basis. But again, we believe that we have a plan that's put in place that's going to be able to reasonably protect the safety of the community in this college. And over the next few weeks, our challenge is going to be to implement it and to be as flexible as possible to make sure that we implement and adapt it in the best way possible. So it's going to be a dialogue. It's going to be an interactive process, and we're looking to everybody to work together to help to work this out as we move to a in-person environment again.
All right, thank you, Russell, and thank you for the questions about orientation. Thank you, Claudio, for posting that information. I know that it's on the front of the website as a link, and thank you for putting it here. Thank you for that. Okay, so we have some follow-up on some other questions offline. We appreciate that. And I hope that you all have found these town halls to be beneficial. We started having them in the beginning of COVID. The whole goal is for us to be together as a community and to be able to ask each other's questions, but also to have a space to check in with each other. Again, it doesn't have to be just about reopening. Please find this as a community space where you ask your questions. So I think we have some good information.
President,
in the chat.
Can I follow
Jacob?
up one more time? I'm sorry to bother you.
No.
I understand there's a million moving parts, and I appreciate the job that all of you are doing. I think that it's been very transparent. I've been reading the reopening plan. I've been following everything, and I really do appreciate it. I just was hoping to get a little more clarity on the transmission rate thing, only because I am coming to campus, and I want to know at what point would we transition to no longer coming to campus. And according to our current reopening plan, it says the current rate in Jamaica is above the threshold, at which point we wouldn't be doing in-person classes. And I understand that I trust you guys, that you feel safe with the reopening, and that's fine. But I just was wondering, at what point would the reopening plan change so that we have a new threshold, or should we just wait to receive an email from academic affairs, or what would be the trigger? How would I know when I need to tell my class, okay, apparently the transmission rate's pretty high in Jamaica, and we need to kind of take a step back and start moving to purely remote?
Well, I would defer to anyone else on my team who wants to speak, but first let me say we will follow the same protocol that we did in the spring, where we had to shut down altogether. So what we do is we monitor the information and our relationship with CUNY Central. And then of course I have people on my team who would then say that we are at that point, we have consulted, and we would update everybody. There is nothing different about this situation than that with which we dealt with when we had to go off campus before. Right?
Got it.
So that has to be in consultation with CUNY Central, who then they also have to be in consultation with the state and with the city. So we will, of course, immediately inform any of you, and of course, immediately follow that same process we went through before. And I so sincerely, deeply hope that that is not something that I have to do anytime in the future.
Great, thank you. I understand. Thank you.
Of course. All right, others? Questions you can holler out or put in the chat. So a couple of things I'm going to ask people to dig deep, and even in the midst of the Delta variant and the pandemic that's not gone as far away as we would like it to, find some excitement around welcoming our students to the fall. I think they really need it. and I know that you have it. And for the students who are here on the call, we are more than happy to have you, and we want to be sure that you're okay. So every group, faculty, staff, and students, I want us to band together to dig deep, because I know everybody's still exhausted. There wasn't enough vacation or vacation mentality, I'm sure, this year. Please do all you can to take good care of each other and communicate well with each other so that we can make it and have some excitement around our fall, okay? All right, Dana, how are we doing with the questions? We're 12:49, I wanna watch the clock.
So there's a question, will there be consultation with faculty, especially those who will be forced to teach in windowless rooms with students of unknown vaccination status? So my colleagues can join in on this, but we know that students will either be fully vaccinated or will have a negative test, and the students will also be wearing masks. So that is when we talk a little bit about unknown, I think I just want to say that the students are either vaccinated or have tested negative. So I think that does remove some of the unknown, but obviously not all of it to everyone's comfort level. But I don't know if, Provost, if you wanted to further answer that.
No, that pretty much clarifies, I think, what the policy is. I guess I'm not quite clear on what consultation they're looking for. I mean,
Erica, it's consultation about whether we should shut down or not. If the community rates are above the guidance and we have to come onto campus, surely faculty, the people who are stuck in rooms with many, many students, are people who should be consulted about how we feel. Not that I need to be, I'm sure you know that I'm terrified. I'm terrified to teach in person.
So Jillian, thank you. I don't want to interrupt Derek, I'm sorry, but thank you for sharing. I also hope that each of you, so a couple of things, are talking to your dean and talking to the chairs, but also, I mean, I think everybody's at a different level of being comfortable being here. And so maybe it's better to have an offline conversation about how we could better make sure that everything's okay. Not every room in the building does not have windows. There's a lot of different nuances in making sure that people are all right where they're in the spaces they're going to be in. So Jillian, I offer that, whatever we can do to put you in contact with the people that you need to be speaking with to make sure that you're comfortable, we definitely will do that. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Of course. All right, anyone else?
Yes, I have a question.
Hello.
Hi, I'm a student. My name is Ozioma Omer. And my question is, I want to know why your college did not give students preference on how to attend classes. And in other words, whether they want in-person, online, or hybrid.
I actually don't think that any college did that. We had to put together a schedule for our college that was best for the larger situation. And we are not an online university. I appreciate it, but that's not who we are. So what we did was try to develop, based on our guidance, a schedule that would put us back into getting back to where we've been. Because our hope is that we get back to being where we've been. We will always have some online offerings, but we're not an online college. But the students, sweetheart, I appreciate you. The students don't make that decision.
Okay.
The students don't make that decision. We can't, that's not the way it functions, because we have to be mindful of the faculty, staff, and the students, everyone. It's one community. Not one group makes one decision.
I know, but this is not over. You know, this Delta variant is spreading rapidly.
I understand.
It's not still over. So we need to, I think it's good to give students preference to choose, because like dragging everyone to the campus, I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think.
So I would simply add to what the president said, a few things. The first is that CUNY did do a survey of students, faculty, and staff about their desire to be on campus or remote. And it came out to be about a third really wanted to be on campus, a third really wanted to be remote, and a third were fine with either way. The second thing I'd like to say is that, as the president said, we aren't an online university. And so we, in the past year, had to get special permission from our accrediting bodies to allow us to teach all of those classes online. If we wish to continue to do that, we would have to actually go through the whole application process to offer online degrees. And that would take time. So there wasn't the ability to do that. And the third thing I'd point out is that we made a conscious effort to try to have a balanced level of courses that were being offered in person, hybrid, and remote to address the different desires that our students had while still keeping with our accreditation standards. So we've tried to make that balance that is necessary in terms of doing what's needed for our accreditation, as well as doing what is needed for the students.
Thank you, Derek. All right, other questions? All right, so let me go over my summary list while you all develop your last questions. So we have an update on facilities. The campus is clean. We have capital projects moving along. It doesn't look like you left it, and we got a lot more stuff to do, but it's moving along. So thank you, Kachi, and thank you, Charles. Testing, we have a testing process and a program. All that information has been shared. You must be tested at a CUNY site, right? Tested or vaccinated is the goal, right? For our special populations like our literacy center, there will be a guest policy that'll be coming out. Accommodations. The accommodation information at this point has gone out to the campus over 50 or 60 or 70 times. Sabrina and her team has sent it. It has been posted in these town halls over and over and over again. If you are a manager, I am asking you to be accountable for every member of your team, and that you know who needs an accommodation, who needs help, who is okay and who is not, and that you have communicated that back to your vice president and or appropriate cabinet member, okay? We do have help. When you walk into the front door, there will be help centers, right? There will be spaces. There is going to be an online one-stop that student development is developing, and that will be publicized. So there will be spaces for people to get help. There are exciting activities being planned for weeks of welcome, and the classroom technology work continues to stay focused. I want to also highlight that Dr. Lori Hefner is keeping us on task, even during COVID, around assessment and our middle states participation. So we keep our accreditation process healthy and that we are focused on making sure all those things are done. We have several things in the chat that have been posted. This town hall is recorded and will be posted. Our new reopening plan has been posted to the website. And again, if you have not visited the CUNY website around COVID and our website, please continue to do so. So our goal is to over-communicate, to be as collaborative and transparent as possible, and to show some grace and patience with each other as we navigate these not so easy times, but we know that we can do it. We know that we can do it. All right. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Dan, is there anything else in the chat? How are we doing?
I did also put in the chat the information about convocation. Convocation will be September 2nd. It is a pre-recorded video that we are launching that day, but we are also doing an in-person launch, an in-person watch party. So weather permitting, folks will be able to be socially distant and be out on the area where orientation is being held and can watch the pre-recorded event on screen. It was a way to still have some community, but in a safe way. I know that the student life team is working on a safe ice cream social that will be at the end of the event, and will just be a nice way. We encourage faculty, administrators, we encourage folks to come and watch the convocation, or you can watch it safely from your office, whatever your preference is. But please join us for being the join us for the official start of the academic year. We've also put up, there's a slider on the homepage with additional town hall meetings throughout the fall semester. So you can take a look at those, put them on your calendars now. We've also shared with a number of leadership groups other events on campus this fall, which we're still determining based on safety, whether they will be in person, virtual, or a hybrid form. Those include executive breakfasts and some other events. Earl may also want to just point out that we will again be hosting the Department of Elections this fall in supporting election activity. So Earl, I don't know if you have those dates you want to share with the group. And I apologize for accessibility reasons. I know folks prefer that I have my camera on when I speak, but my connection was a little unstable, so I did turn the camera off. So I apologize.
All right. Thank you, Dana. All right, everybody good? All right, I hope this was helpful. I hope you stay safe and you continue to enjoy what bit of the summer is left. All right, take care of yourselves, and I cannot wait to see you in person. All right, be safe. All right.
I'm sorry, I have a question.
Oh, Elizabeth, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's okay. So I wrote, do we need to, like, who do we need to contact again if we have questions about, who do we need to contact on CUNY first if we have questions about like the structure of the class?
About whether your class is, okay, Derek, help me here. The notation
So,
about, okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
yeah, so on CUNY first, there'll be notation as to whether or not the class is hybrid, online, or in person. If the class is hybrid or online, what you can do is you can contact your department that's offering that class to get more details about how that particular class is going to be offered in the hybrid format or in the online format. That answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, very good. Okay, so I apologize. Just holler out if there's anybody else. I don't want to miss it. Okay, so being part of a community is a people business. So I tell people, you take care of the people, you train the people, you live with the people, and you start over. It keeps going. We all train each other to be together, all right? And we appreciate you, all right? So thank you. Thank you. Be safe, all right? Vinod, is that you?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
As part of the CUNY Combat program, do I get refund for my spring 2021 semester tuition fees?
I missed a word. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
As part of the CUNY Combat program, do I get refund for my fees from last semester?
Oh, I think I'm going to have somebody investigate that one. I believe the answer is probably no, but I want to be sure I'm not speaking out of turn. So I will make sure somebody follows up with you. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. VP Karen?
Vinod, if you can just email me, I'll put my email in the chat and I can work on finding out that answer for you. But I think the president is right. CUNY contacted the students directly who would be receiving any sort of relief from that program.
Okay. Okay.